Hey, you guys, it's me, most targeted citizen. You guys know that I'm a prepper, live off grid, survivalist, some may say, hunter, trapper, fisherman. Just pretty much trying to survive, because you're going to need to know how to do it. And if I weren't so worried about security and my personal safety, then I would be able to share a lot more, because I mean, you guys knew my life. I showed you every aspect of my life, my home, everything about my home, where I lived, everything. Now I got to keep it on download, because you saw what happened when you're free about it. It's all used against you, as you saw the violent attack on me in my driveway by Longview PD. I don't know if I shared with you or not, but I had been putting back food for 3 years. When I went to the grocery store, I'd buy double. I'd buy things for the house, and I would duplicate that to put into storage. And storing things is a hard thing to do. It's hard to do storage when you're outside, especially if it's storage you're trying to hide. You don't need anybody else to find. If you put it in a storage building somewhere, you're screwed, because if the streets get locked down, you're not going to get in your building. Mom, we're going to starve to death, but we'll be fine if I can make it across town in the storage lot and get the gate open when the power's out, because all we got to do is get over there and we'll be fine. You think when the crap hits the fan, there's going to be a storage building out there that hasn't been raided? You think so? So the only way you're going to store something is on your own property. If it's on your own property and it's in a building, if one of the marauders come through or law enforcement comes through, kicks your door in, they got your stash. What are you going to do? So you have to make accommodations for how you're going to keep your food supply secure. And needless to say, I made some huge mistakes, because people don't go into specifics. I'm a sponge. I learn. I want to know everything I need to know. And with my OCD and my PTSD, I am on the more severe spectrum when it comes to trying to protect myself and my family. So I would put like soda pop, crackers, cereals. I would put all kinds of anything at the grocery store. I would put back, and I have made a drastic mistake. And I knew this mistake a year and a half ago. And I don't know if I posted. You guys know I always deal with these 300-gallon totes. What I would do is I took the totes from my boat. When I was building the boathouse, I took the totes, cut them in half. Well, what I did with that is, when I took my food and I started to store it, I put it in those totes and put the lid on top, secure. No water, nothing got in it. I thought it was fine. I miscalculated. Not only did I miscalculate vermin, I miscalculated the goods in which I stored, and I have probably lost $1,000 to $2,000 worth of canned goods and my supplies. And I'm just going to go into a little bit of that right now with you. Told you guys I used to go to food banks. And when I went to food banks, I get anything they gave me, I took. Because if you're starving, I don't like tomatoes. I don't do tomatoes. It breaks my face out. It gives me freaking fever blisters, because citric acid, I'm real sensitive to citric acid. I was like, well, tomatoes, I can maybe bargain. I'll take anything I can get. Well, a lot of these food banks, they give you the off-brand stuff. Now, a lot of people will tell you, and I'll tell you, that the canned food we get now, they have a plastic resin on the inside of the cans of a canned food. It used to be canned food, but it lasts 50 to 100 years. But now they have a plastic resin inside. If that product you're purchasing, especially the cheaper stuff that they give away at these food banks, it does not have that plastic. So you're danged if you do, danged if you don't. So I'll show you what happens with that. You'll get a can like this, and the citric acid in the tomatoes will literally eat through the can. And when it does that, it sits in the bottom. Now, this load of stuff that I stored was in buckets. Buckets is probably the best way, as long as you got a sealed lid, to keep water out and to keep vermin out. And I'm just going to show you a small glimpse of the mess that happens when one thing rusts through the bottom. It ruins everything. Is ruined. Everything is ruined. Now, some of these cans I could probably work through, but overall, it's ruined. Peanut butter never goes bad. You got to worry about that. but just ruined. I mean, all this was brand new cans of food. And I'll show you. Yes, and if you see that, you can't even imagine how unbearable the smell is. And I'll tell you this, I stored everything in these. I put plastic Ziploc bags. But let me give you a list of things you do not store. Do not store. You ever seen Coca-Colas? Here's Sam's Club. In my mania, when I was manic, stores, I gotta store. The end's coming, I gotta get ready. I would store this. Well, as you see, it's unopened, right? It's empty. It's empty. Where did it go? Where did the soda go? So in this container, you would think, oh, that container's safe. There's nothing. For one, you wouldn't really think about the canned food. I did not think about the canned food. I didn't think about a can of tomato juice or tomato paste would eat through the can. I didn't even think about that. But not only that, soda pop, soda drinks are extremely toxic. I don't drink them. I stored them back for others for trading material. So I've got, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 in that one container, one bucket of food. 4 cans opened up. So far, 4 cans opened up. Now look, this is the mess. Now this is glass, so it didn't break. But I tried to save crackers. Well, of course they're going to be stale. I just wasn't thinking crackers are going to be stale. And when you're going through this process, because I dealt with rats too. Rats were a huge problem. I lost $500 to rats because the totes containers that I use for storage, especially dry storage, I had rats eat through 2-wall layer of those containers. Ate through them. So as you see all this, just buckets ruined. Here's peanut butter. It's fine. Don't keep things like apple juice, applesauce. Don't keep those, because those will eat out. Those will rot out as well. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's just nastiness. And this is like 2 out of 3 buckets have this mess. I mean, you see that right there. You see that mess, right? Well, I've got a tote down on my property. And these are 300-gallon totes. And I can usually fill them about half full because you put the lid on top, because I cut the totes in half. Full, stacked to the top of nothing but canned goods. And I don't know where the pictures went. I deleted them because I don't have any storage, because when you're hacked, they fill up all your storage and you can't store what you need. Sugar, flour. Rats would eat through bottles of water and nest inside the bottled water bottles. Spaghetti, chew through it. Rice. I saw rats eat through aluminum foil wrappers, like in Pop-Tarts. Eat through a Pop-Tart wrapper. If they could eat through that hard plastic, they could eat through thin metal. I've seen rats eat through very thin sheet metal. Rats ate through. When I opened a 300-gallon tote, flipped the lid off, probably 10 pounds of rat feces. It is so heartbreaking to lose so much. So do not save pastas. Don't save anything in a cardboard box. Do not do it. You might get away with it if you've got buckets, if you don't do the other things like no soda pop, no canned drinks. Bottled water is a problem unless you only have those bottled water with other bottled water. Because I had bottled water in my tote above flour, sugar, and salt. I had probably 20 pounds of flour, sugar, and salt ruined. I lost thousands of dollars in that part of my prep. The meat part was the worst. You guys saw that. My freezer got unhooked at my house, lost $1,000 worth of meat. Then that was chicken, deer, and pork. I raised 2 of my hogs that I raised. They were 450 pounds when I put them down. And I told you when I moved, I didn't have power at my residence. So when I moved, I had to rent a storage building. Storage building specifically for the power. Well, Gang Stalker comes through. I don't know when it was. I went and dropped it off, checked on it a month later, and it was fine. I came back the next month, and it was ruined. Blood and 3 inches deep in the floor of that storage building. But 2 full freezers full of hogs, full of deer, full of chicken, full of meat. Let me show you this. So you have to be careful what all I show you. But this was my best friend here. That's the hole in his head. That's how big my hog was. That's how large. 450 pound hog. Here's a smaller one that I was forced to kill. This one. See how big the tusks are? 1.5 long tusk. That's how, yeah. Can you imagine me raising hogs? Well, I had a mess of swine. A mess of them. Don't die on me, buddy. It was a heartbreaking day. Somehow, mysteriously, I will say, mysteriously, I was planning to butcher, because when you butcher a hog and you're all by yourself and you don't have any help, you ain't got no way to get it up off the ground, and you ain't got no help. Somehow, my hog would just get sick. He'd get to about the point where I'm getting ready to butcher a boob, and then he'd just get massively sick, and I had to put him down. And it puts fear in you. Oh, I'm going to butcher a freaking sick hog. Well, I ate some of the meat, so I know it wasn't bad, but it's the fact I was rushed into it, and when I was rushed into it, the only thing I could get off my hog was his shoulders and his hips. That's it. So the rib meat I lost, the pork chops I lost all that stuff, because for one thing, you just don't pick up a 450 pound hog. You need a tractor to pick it up, and I didn't have a tractor. I didn't have anybody to help me do it. So here I am on the ground with freaking knives, and if you ever try to cut, for one thing, you saw the 44, well, actually the 45 bullet that went through my hog's brain. That woke him up. Did you hear me? Shooting my hog in the brain woke him up. He was sick, wouldn't get up and walk around. So I said, well, I'm going to put him out of his misery. I don't want him to be suffering. When I shot him in the head, it woke him up. I shot him 6 more times in the head. It still did not kill him. It was only to the 9th round of my 45 through his heart and lungs that it finally put him down. I'll show you the other one, my other good buddy. This is my other one. That is the bullet right there from a 45 right there. The bullet's still there, and that's a bullet right there. It did not go through. It stuck right in the top of the cranium. That's the 2 bullets from my 45s. Another one I put right through the ear, but I don't see that hole. But you see how big he is? Look at the tusk on that monster. 450 pounds. And some Gang Stalker unplugged my freezers. And the reason I know it's a Gang Stalker, because when I came back to the storage building to pick up my freezers, they were plugged back in. So they unplugged them long enough to destroy all my meat, and then plug them back in to make me feel secure when I got back there. The worst mess I've ever seen. Literally 5 to 6 inches of blood in the bottom of each freezer, and they dumped out on the floor, and the dude was wigging out on me because it dumped down. I'm like, dude, I mean, I know that they weren't responsible for keeping my stuff alive, but I rented the place because it had power. So I ended up spending $250 on a storage building, trying to save thousands in meat, and I lost every bit of it. I lost it all. I'm tempted to show you the other tote that's full of freaking food, but it's raining again. You won't understand the amount of heartache it is. And listen, I'm not beyond saying that some of this might have been vandalism, because I'm gang stalked. I can't. There's nowhere for you to hide. Your neighbor's security camera, if there's an internet in that house, it goes straight to a database. Any cell phone, it has facial recognition. Any speaker picks your voice up, they have vocal recognition. They're picking you up everywhere. Tag readers everywhere. You don't hide. They don't need flock. Flock cameras in your neighborhood are just to keep your attention here, to give you, well, the flock cameras aren't here, so they can't track me. They don't know where I'm at because there's no flock here. No. It's just like when they bust these supposed drug deals and these supposed terror plots. They know every single plot in the world. They know every one of them. They choose which ones they interrupt. They choose which ones they stop. And they choose the ones they let go through, because the government is the one manufacturing, I would dare say, 93 to 95% of all terror the government is running. Columbine School, that was an MK Ultra program. The Charlie Kirk thing, that was a Fed operation. The Pulse nightclub, another Fed operation. Sandy Hook, another Fed operation. America is one of the safest places on earth, or was previous until Joe Biden opened our borders. I don't know if you guys have heard about the explosives that were at the base of a dam waiting to go off. See, Iran hasn't even come back to hurt us yet. When Iran wants our biscuits, they got our biscuits. Sorry. They call them lone gunmen, lone actors. No, they're not. No one's alone planning these things. They're all mapped out and coordinated, just like January 6th was. Mapped out and completely coordinated. Let me see if I can do this. See all this food? All that food? All that food? All that is wasted. I gotta make the best of it. If you guys want advice on what not to do in any situation, call me, because whether it is forced upon, the errors I make are forced upon me, or actually my fault, if it's going to go wrong, it's going to happen to me. It is a non-stop comedy of errors that is almost suicidal. It is. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. And the worst part of all of it is, I feel so disconnected from God because of this program. It has alienated me from my Father, and it's God bless.